The Startup Life is brought to you by Target. No matter if it's household items to make your home more aesthetically pleasing or a 65-inch TV to complete that man cave, Target is the go-to place for high-quality products at an affordable price. Start your Target journey with a link in our show notes. Target. Expect more. Pay less. This episode of The Startup Life is also brought to you by our amazing partners at SCORE Memphis. Look, entrepreneurship is hard, and there is nothing like a mentor that can help you navigate those waters. And that is what SCORE provides. SCORE mentors provide years of expertise and have resources that will have you flourishing and profitable on your path to entrepreneurship. If you are in need of a mentor, give SCORE a call. The number is 901-544-3588 or go to their website at memphis.score.org. The link is there in the show notes. This week on The Startup Life.
At a young age, I knew I wanted to be either a CEO or a surgeon.
I hear that.
Like a neurosurgeon or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I knew what it would take school-wise to do it.
So let's take flight with Chris Washington, the founder of Chris On Call. The Startup Life begins now.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Otis, you crazy mother.
Hey Startup Nation, do you enjoy the Startup Life? Now you can let the world know with gear from the show. Choose from the label yourself, make your own look, and Making Money t-shirts to tell your story of your path of entrepreneurship. Click the link in the show notes to purchase. All right, Startup Nation, so I hope you're ready to receive some value today. We got a big time guest in the building today. We got Chris Washington of Chris On Call. What's going on, C-Dub?
Not much.
Oh, man. I can't complain, man. You know me, living the dream. Just living the dream. You ready to report some knowledge in the Startup Nation today?
Definitely.
Let's get it. All right, man. First things first. Tell us about your story, about your path of entrepreneurship.
Well, honestly, I worked a lot of manual labor jobs.
Okay.
Because I have difficulty reading. So a lot of people thought that associates with, I guess, not having book smarts.
Or like intelligence and stuff like that.
Level.
Right, for sure.
And that is not the case.
It is not.
And so everyone, like, I would go to apply for factory jobs and things like that, and a lot of people would stick me as the custodian. And so therefore I decided, well, if I'm going to be stuck with those types of jobs, why not go ahead and own the company?
I hear that.
So I decided to start Chris On Call. It began as a chore service.
Okay.
And we were doing lawn service, pool services, and things like that. So after we started that, all of our clients decided, they were like, well, we kind of want driving services. We kind of were like, you know, we thought maybe you guys did that. And so we decided to cut out the chore part.
Okay. And
completely focus on driving. And that is really where Chris On Call took off and blew up overnight.
I hear that. And I appreciate you sharing that, you know, and being transparent about that learning disability. And you're right. We do have a lot of stigmas about stuff like that in this country and abroad, as far as like learning disabilities and equating that to some type of commentary on level of intelligence, which it really does not. So I appreciate you sharing that and being willing to share that for sure. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about that, not too deep, but a little bit about that later on in the show. But before we do that, man, let me ask you this. You know, who or what inspires you as an entrepreneur?
Honestly, who would be my mom?
I hear that.
Not that she never owned a business. I mean, she's starting to get into it, but that her level of success over the years and watching her grow. I mean, from struggling when she was in college, when I was really young, to having that work ethic to keep pushing. I mean, she has her doctorate in MBA. I mean, she's up there now, and I'm happy for her.
I hear that.
But being able to see that as a kid and watch that, know what it takes, that you don't just see it overnight. that it takes the time and the effort to put into it is amazing for me. And she's honestly my idol. I mean, it really is, because my mom was a single parent for a very long time. And so it was primarily me and her. And that's why it is really important. And to be able to say that I learned a lot from her.
Gotcha.
You know, I mean, in everything over time.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, man. If your mom opened a business or started a business, you think she'll be successful as well? You think she will be?
Honestly, yes. I mean, over time, she's built so many connections and things like that I think she really will.
Gotcha. I hear that. Thank you for sharing that. So let me ask you this, man, because, you run, Chris on Call and Startup Nation. If you're here in the Memphis area and you need that luxurious driving services, make sure you go to chrisoncall.com. We have a link in the show notes for easy access for you to access that website. I'm pretty sure Chris would appreciate that for sure. So let me ask you this, man. What's a typical day like for you running Chris on Call?
Honestly, it is. It's
Hold on. Startup Nation, you should have seen his facial expression when he said that, but go ahead, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It can be stressful at times.
I bet.
Honestly. Because for us, we're always trying to strive for better. So we're going out and we're marketing and we're going to hotels and we're going to all these different places trying to set up meetings and talk to people.
Right.
And so it looks like, honestly, I work in the business. So I do some of the calls, I drive.
Gotcha.
And then I also go out and market. So I work 24/7.
I hear that.
So I don't have a day off, which can be the part of a business that can be stressful. Some people think, even though you have set business hours, that you work those hours and then that's it. And it's not, because if you do that, you're not going to be successful. You have to get there early before, even if you're baking, you have to get there early in the morning, put that time in, and then, go throughout your day.
Right.
And then you have to close everything down. So it's the same concept with us. We keep our cars clean. So for us, it's really a great experience when you use us. So we love to, I guess, brag in a way on the cleanliness.
I hear that.
And then it takes time, because I personally clean the cars. So if I'm not out promoting the business, I'm out cleaning the vehicles and getting them ready to go out for a big event at night.
Gotcha. I hear that. And there's a few things I want to point out, Startup Nation, that I really appreciate Chris saying. The first one is, when you talk about you clean the cars, right, yourself. And I think that speaks to a level of distinction, make sure you're creating that differentiating factor between you and your competitor. And it's safe to say that your competitor is like a Uber or Lyft in some regard, correct? When we're talking about driver services and stuff like that?
Yes, for our economy level, yes, but our other levels, more of your limo service.
For sure. But I think that's important, right? But it leads you to my second thing when you talk about like the stuff that people don't see. Right? Like, whether it be cleaning the cars or sending invoices or whatever the case may be. And Startup Nation, that's important in your business. Like, I know a lot of times we have friends and family and they only see the work that we do, but they don't see the other stuff, the late nights and stuff like that. So I appreciate you sharing that, man, for sure. I appreciate that. So let me ask you this, man, because, you talked about this earlier before you started Chris on Call. You were working like a lot of different, manual labor jobs and stuff like that. And you got to a point, man, where you're like, man, I'm feeling a little stuck. I can't go any higher. And you did decide to, ultimately start Chris on Call. But take me back to that experience. Take me back to that feeling, that experience of feeling like, man, I'm not getting anywhere. What was going through your head at that time? Like, how were you feeling?
Honestly, at a young age, I knew I wanted to be either a CEO or a surgeon.
I hear that.
Like a neurosurgeon or something like that. But I knew what it would take school-wise to do it. And I knew that it was going to be really difficult because I knew the reading and the stuff that it would take to do something like that. And I know that a lot of doctors have said that I won't overcome that reading disability because it's something in my actual brain that doesn't connect.
Gotcha.
It's not that I'm not trying and things like that. Because some people think that you weren't trying and things like that. And I always have, and I'm always trying to learn. But it just, you get to a point in life when you're like, I want more for myself.
I hear that.
I want what I promised myself when I was younger. I wanted to succeed. I wanted to do these things, and I wanted this level of success, and I wanted to be this person. And you have to stick with that. A lot of people get discouraged and they're like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. You have to figure out what works for you. What kind of business or what kind of job works for you and what you want to do.
Right.
And if it lines up with your goals, that is what I would stick with. And, too many people give up on their dreams, and they give up because of a kid, or they give up because of this, but you have to still work on that. There's so many successful people with kids or with, so many issues, and they need to stick with everything. And I think that's what helped me, was just the drive. And finally waking up one day and was like, I'm tired of doing this and getting stuck doing this stuff, being out in the 120 degree heat, a heat index. And, because I did pools, I did anywhere from custodian, cleaning bathrooms. I did a whole lot of different manual labor jobs. And it's not to say manual labor jobs are bad. They're good. They provide steady income. But for me, I wanted a little bit more out of life than to do that.
I hear that. I appreciate all of that. And I appreciate the perseverance and the will to be like, you know what, I'm going to take control of my journey, my destiny, or wherever the case may be, in spite of what people may say, think, and stuff like that. So I definitely appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure Startup Nation can appreciate that as well. I want to ask you this, because I want to talk about, your learning disability just for a little bit. So, when you found out, that you had this disability, and your mom, I'm pretty sure your mom talked to you about it and stuff like that. And you've already talked about how important she has been on your journey, in your life, this, about, and the other. When she sat you down and talked to you about it, what did she say? Like, what was those words like? This does, what did she say?
Honestly, it was from a really young age. Some of it I don't even remember, but I've always went to doctors for it and to try and help it. I've always tried to, she took me to specialists and trying to fix it. So I knew from a young age. It wasn't that all of a sudden it hit and was like, oh, well, hey, we have to have this talk. I knew from when I was really young, all the way growing up, that I knew that I had this disability, but I didn't know 100% why. And that's when I learned more about it. Like, I guess in a way, she just told me kind of what it was when I got a little older and the reason for it. But there wasn't a particular time that it just all sat down and was like, hey, this is what's... For sure.
Okay. I guess I just wanted to know, how encouraging she was and stuff like that. So
very encouraging. Always told me I could do anything.
Gotcha.
I could do anything in life as long as I put my mind to it. And that, I got bullied in school for it, but for me, I knew that school was just something for the moment. That school,
I hear that.
It was like, okay, well, I'm getting bullied at this point for this thing, hey, well, this isn't going to last forever. And too many people get stuck in it, and too many kids get down about it. And you just have to look at it like, hey, I got a few more years. You know what? I'm going to stick this out. I got my whole life, show them in the end, hey, I'm a big CEO, and where are they at the end of the day?
I hear that. No, that's kind of cool, because I think that speaks volumes about you, Chris, because not everybody's able to put life in a perspective like that at such a young age. Because, we've all gone through high school. We know what bullying and stuff looks like, right? And so a lot of times, they think that's their life, and they think that's going to be their life forever. But you had that perspective to say, nope. This is just temporary. So I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. So look, man, entrepreneurs are always like lifelong learners. They're always engaged in professional development, reading books, listening to podcasts, whatever the case may be. What does professional development mean for you, Chris? And what are you learning now?
Honestly, talking with a business coach, I was able to connect with people, and it was like, I would go to a lot of different business events, marketing events and things like that, where I met the right people. And you can't just go to these events and sit down and not talk to anybody. That's pointless.
Right.
So I went to these events and got connected with this person, and all of a sudden this person, maybe with this person. So I was able to grow and learn in that. That is what being able to grow in knowledge and in ways to be able to meet the right people is amazing. That can connect you with a big deal, or maybe it's just learning how to do something better. And also, I mean, I watch a lot of YouTube videos on keeping the cars clean, professional detailers. I mean, anywhere from someone who charges $10 million to clean the car.
Right.
That's how I know that the cars stay clean. I mean, I use the best chemicals. I use the best stuff I can to clean the vehicles because I'm a car lover, honestly. I love cars.
Right.
So for me, it's a big thing to be able to do this in general, be able to drive people, let alone keeping everything clean and know that, hey, I'm giving them top-notch service.
I hear that. Thank you for sharing that. So, Chris, look, man, the service industry is kind of in a growth phase right now. We see apps and web services. We kind of talked about Uber and Lyft and stuff like that, but we also see like Taco and TaskRabbit, Home Advisors. Like I said, the service industry is just really booming. A matter of fact, according to a Houston Chronicle article, it's expected to grow another 5.4% from 2016 to 2020. So, obviously that'll be next year. But I guess I want to ask you this, man. Where do you see your future in all this growth in the service industry? Where do you see Chris on Call in the mix of it all? Like, where do you see the company?
Honestly, someone who wants a safe service. Because Uber and Lyft, everyone knows, is not the safest. Their system is not the safest system. With us, our drivers are vetted, completely vetted. So you won't have any issues. And plus, you get the same driver every time. With Uber and Lyft, you got a bunch of random people.
That's true.
That are just on the apps.
Right.
And they aren't uniformed. You don't know what they're wearing. You don't know what type of cars they can be in. I know my experience around town just looking at Uber and Lyft stickers on cars. I mean, they're not the best. Some of them are all torn up. Some are, and then the people get out. A lot of people wearing some shorts, ripped up and, things like that. So you just, with us, you get the level of experience for a lower cost. Right. You get limo service, 5-star service and every level that you choose, but you're not paying that cost.
Right.
That comes with that traditionally.
Right, and there's also, as you mentioned, there's also a level of professionalism.
Yes.
When you step out of the car and the driver looks nice and doesn't have shorts or turn up jeans or stuff like that. So I think that's one of those differentiating factors we were talking about earlier. Were you about to say something else?
And then the other thing is with us, our drivers sign a confidentiality agreement.
Okay.
So whatever is said in the car, whoever we're picking up, cannot go outside of that car.
Gotcha.
So no one like I said, because everyone signs a confidentiality, like I said, we give the same driver to that person every single time. So no one will ever have any bad interactions as far as like, oh, well, this person picked me up, now they know this and this, and you know what I'm saying?
Right, for sure.
Like, you have doctors and lawyers that are working all day and they just want a ride to go home. Some people just want silence. So we pick up all the doctors and stuff around town that work all these really long shifts, 12, 13-hour shifts.
Right.
And they just want to ride home because they're too tired to drive. And that is where we succeed the most in.
I hear that.
Is just giving what people want. You have to learn and read people. Some people love to talk. They get in the car, they just want to have a conversation with you forever. And others just want peace and silence, and they just want to chill because maybe they got kids at home that they're going to and they're going to be screaming all night, and things like that.
Right.
And then also your work life, you don't know how busy someone is. And
for sure.
Like I said, just to be able to give them that peace of mind, they're getting there safe, they're getting there in style. That's all people ask.
I hear that. Thank you for sharing that. So look, man, after you started Chris on Call, what were some of those hidden expenses you didn't expect okay. So some of those hidden expenses that came up that you didn't expect and that you didn't see until after you actually started the company?
Honestly, some of the certifications that we needed.
Okay.
Some of the certifications, let alone the insurance that we need, is what I did not expect. Because I knew it'd be higher, but I did not realize just how high insurance and stuff really is for all these policies and all these things that you need. And then the cars. Cars have gone up tremendously over the years. I mean, we have the new Escalades, and those are going for like $102,000.
Right.
So you're talking, whereas before they used to be 60, 70,000 range.
Right.
Was the max they'd get up to. And that is the thing, is everything's getting to be so expensive. Right. That I thought, all right, well, I can do this when I started back in 2015. Everything's good. And then all of a sudden I learned, well, there's this expense to it. There's insurance per car. There's, all of these all the time that you have to, like I said, all the time that you have to put into it that a lot of people don't realize. You have to go to events, you have to meet people, and you have to, it's a lot of not just money, but just time that goes into everything.
I hear that. Money and time are definitely two pieces of currency you do have as an entrepreneur that you have to spend and spend wisely. So I appreciate you sharing all of that for sure. So before we go to break, man, I want to ask you one quick question. So, I know you talked a little bit about, you got some marketing, some advertising out there. So how do you market Chris on Call, and how do you get that advertising, get the word out there that you're ready to serve the greater Memphis area and beyond out here? Because I hear now you started kind of trickle over to Nashville a little bit, right?
Yep.
So talk a little bit about all that, if you would.
Okay. What we are doing right now is we're doing a lot of Facebook marketing.
Okay.
Because I was talking to the business coach, and they were saying that that's the most effective way to do it and the cheaper way to reach the most amount of people.
For sure.
Because we do marketing on LinkedIn as well and things like that. But the most has actually been Facebook. And then the other marketing that we do is, like I said, just going and having meetings with people and different companies around town. And that really helps get the word out. Plus, it's brand recognition because they're seeing it on the phone, and then you're talking to them in person. They're seeing this, so it all comes together, and
it's reinforcing the fact that Chris and his company is here to serve you at a top notch level, and all that great stuff. Yes. Talk a little bit more about that networking piece, all right? So, like, when you're going to these networking events and you're going to these businesses or whatever, what are you saying to them? Like, how are you drumming up that business?
Honestly, just you have to put yourself in a good mood. You can't be like, I listen to a lot of motivational speakers.
Got it.
Because for me, at the end of the day, like, you have traffic, you have everything that can frustrate you to the max, but you can't let it get to you, because when you go in these meetings, you have to be as calm and collect as possible.
Gotcha.
And because if you're not, it betrays, and then all of a sudden you lose that chance because they read the vibe that you're giving off. And then the other thing is just dressing the part and not being so overdressed for a casual event.
Gotcha.
If it's going to be something that you're just wearing some nice khakis and a polo, then show up in that and don't be overdressed, because a lot of people think you're trying to be better than them and that they won't take you seriously.
Gotcha. I hear that. I appreciate you saying all of that. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. How you like being on the Startup Life so far?
Actually, I love it.
Awesome stuff.
All right, Startup Nation. So I hope you're getting great value from Chris's content, but we got to pay a few bills. Once again, my name is Dominic Lawson. This is the Startup Life Podcast, and it is powered by the Binge Podcast Network. Startup Nation, Kenda and I, along with our daughter Zoe, have this thing called Target Fridays if she's had a good week at school. We stop by the snack bar for popcorn and mermaid ices. Startup Nation, don't judge me until you've tried them. Those ices are really good. Anyways, we then head over to the toy section so my daughter can add to her LOL doll collection. My daughter is a pretty good student, so you can imagine that we have spent a small fortune on LOL dolls. However, I can take solace in the fact that Target makes it affordable to buy those LOL dolls and anything else we need as a family. That's because Target believes you deserve quality at an affordable price. And when you're entrepreneurs like us, that's extremely important. But great deals and quality products are not exclusive to the brick and mortar version of the retail store. Target.com has even more exclusive deals that you can appreciate. And when you spend over $35, shipping is free. And I know we all love free shipping. We love to purchase the amazing kids clothes for Zoe from the exclusive to Target Cat and Jack line when we go online. So the next time you listen to the show and you are reminded that you need something for your home, start your Target journey with the link in our show notes, where you can expect more and pay less.
All right, Startup Nation, so let's continue. So, man, Chris, tell me all about Chris on Call, the services you provide, the things you do for people. Put it all out there for us.
Well, like I said, our drivers sign a confidentiality agreement. We have 3 levels of service right now.
Okay.
We have our economy level, which is your compact cars. And then we have our business class level, which is a full-size sedan with suede and leather interior, blacked out tinted windows. And that one comes with complimentary mints and waters. And then we have our prestige level service, which is your brand new Escalades, that have the steps that come down and everything.
Oh.
And that comes with Godiva chocolates, complimentary water, and mints.
You know what, Chris? The reason I love your company is because it's one of those things we talk to Startup Nation on our Facebook page and on the show as well. Is like you can enter a market at two different levels. You can be the Android or you can be the Apple, right? Apple's usually a little bit more expensive. Android maybe not as expensive, but both are very profitable business models. And you decided to, with whether it be the luxury sedan, the Escalade, and the Godiva chocolates, right? You decided to be at the high end, right? And so I appreciate you sharing that because it goes to show that you don't have to be cheap in order to be good at what you do and be profitable, right? Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing all of that for sure. Now, I also see that, you offer like maybe some security for high-level dignitaries and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, share that a little bit, yeah.
With our 2 upper levels, we provide security dignitary professionals that on their off time will be able to do security work.
Gotcha.
So we've had high-level dignitaries that come into town, and they need protection in that level. So someone will sit in the car, and then we also have it to where it can be a squad car in front. I've done stuff for the city where you have a squad car in front and back.
Gotcha.
Okay. It all depends on what people need, and we also have an estate with 120 acres, a 6,000 square foot estate that we offer as well for people who are coming into town and who may want that secluded vibe and also need transportation going back and forth to events.
Gotcha. Okay. So let me ask you this: like, how do you pick your drivers? I imagine that it's a very thorough process because you want to make sure you want to get the right people involved. So how do you pick your team, man?
Honestly, it's meeting them, riding with them.
Okay.
And then also we do the background checks, we do drug tests, and frequent random drug tests.
Gotcha.
So I make sure it's not the same day on every month or whatever. I make sure it's random. And so that way we know that someone is not using it all.
Gotcha.
Because they can come into work one day and not get hit with it, all of a sudden they do.
Right.
So it just depends. But for us, like I said, I meet the people. I see how they are. I check their Facebooks. I check all of that stuff.
Gotcha.
I make sure that they haven't, in the last few years, they haven't had something that is provocative and like on there about drugs and things like that on their Facebooks. We go through everything.
Gotcha.
To double check and make sure.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. And I imagine that has worked out really well for you for that thorough process and stuff like that, for sure. Appreciate that. So, look, man, if I want to ride in style around Memphis, man, how do I reach you, man? Do I go through the website? Do I call you? How does that work?
You can call us at 901-825-7252, or you can go on our website and book online.
Okay. All right, cool. And Startup Nation, all of that information is there in the show notes for easy access. So if you're a member of Startup Nation Memphis and you want to ride around town in luxury, for a little bit, make sure you call Chris on call for sure. So let me ask you this, man, because, we met through a mutual friend, Gary Robinson, over at SCORE. So, man, just tell us how impactful SCORE has been in helping you with your business and stuff like that.
Honestly, they're really helpful from the beginning because I had this vision in what I wanted to do, but it was getting it on paper. Like, I have everything in my mind, but it was like, all right, well, how do I really, truly get started in implementing all of this stuff? And they're really helpful with that. And then also through the process, I've done stuff with them. I've done a lot of speaking events for them and things like that. So they've really helped me through everything that I've needed. If I've needed anything from coaching to like, hey, well, what about this? And what about this idea? And, things like that. They're really helpful with the business plans and everything, honestly.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. So let me ask you this, man. I believe all entrepreneurs have a superpower. What's yours and why?
Honestly, it's just being, striving for greatness and sticking with a plan. Just being dedicated to what I do and loving it. Honestly, I wake up and I love it. I love driving. I love being able to help people get from place to place in style and in a great way. Making sure that they're safe. We have, like I said, we have police officers, we have other things, people that we drive their families, and it's just it's amazing knowing that we provide a good level of service for them.
Got you. Thank you for sharing that. So look, man, I want to go ahead and this is the last question, but before I do that, man, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I think you gave Startup Nation amazing value and did, provided, information that they really can help in their business and really show what you do at Chris on Call and stuff like that. So I appreciate all of that. So I'm actually going to turn the microphone over to you because there's somebody out in Startup Nation who they feel either stuck in their business or they're afraid to start, man. So give them some words of motivation today.
Honestly, I would just get out there and do it. A lot of people may be stuck, but you have to get out and meet people. Mm-hmm. You have to find events. Look up at, whatever city you're in and look up some city events for businesses. A lot of people they don't know where to start, and that is a great place. Look up events or go to if restaurants are holding a business event, because some of them do. Some of them hold different events that they'll host. Those are always great things to go to. I would always go to every single one because you never know who's truly going to be there. Gotcha. There may be someone you've never met before. There's been tons of events I've met 90%, but that other 10% is someone I've never met, and they're like, oh yeah, I love this idea, and they'll run with it. Mm-hmm. So I would definitely stick with going to these events and talking with people. And then also just enjoy life. Love what you do. Mm-hmm. Don't start a business just to start a business.
I hear that.
Do what you actually love to do, because then you'll wake up every day and you'll want to make sure it succeeds, and you will do everything you can.
Awesome stuff. So that's going to wrap up this session of the Startup Life. How did you enjoy it, man?
I loved it.
Awesome.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome stuff. You be willing to come back?
Definitely.
Cool. All right, Startup Nation.
So here's my final take. I love Chris's story because Chris talks about the challenges and adversity he went through growing up, and that the path of entrepreneurship actually provided a way for him not only to kind of express himself, but also to create that livable earning potential that he wanted for himself. And sometimes entrepreneurship does that. True enough, it's about, finding a product or service and selling said product or service. But sometimes, Startup Nation, in Chris's instance, it means more than that. It gives you a sense of dignity in defining success on your own terms and stuff like that. And that's a story that we all can identify with. If you want to let us know what you think about our show, have an idea for a show topic, or would like to advertise on our show, send us a message on the Startup Life Podcast Facebook page. And while you are there, like and follow our page as well. It's a great way for us to engage with you, Startup Nation, and really grow our community. The link is there in the show notes. Subscribe to the show, as it can be heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, or even on your Facebook timeline or any other platform you like to get your podcast. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you find our content valuable, please give us a 5-star rating, as it will help us climb the charts and help more people find our show. You can also listen to the show on the Startup Life Podcast new website. There you will find the all-new startup blog, where I write on many topics that are interesting and helpful to you on your path to entrepreneurship. And hey, if you have an idea, be about that life, the Startup Life.